Halsey, welcome back to the Bay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh my God, it's awesome seeing you.
It's great being here.
And I'm glad I was ready for this interview because I walked in wearing these kicks, and then I noticed that you've got 2 different Doc Martens on.
I do.
So I had to match you. And I'm doing a pair of these G-Dragon Air Force Ones and then Fear of God Nikes on the left foot.
Very, very cool.
Just
Those
for you.
G-Dragons are awesome.
I saw these and I'm like, this is like the best Air Force One release I've seen in a long time.
You know, we were talking about my favorite sneakers before, and you know what my favorite sneakers actually are?
Favorite of all time?
You know what? I think they're the Girls Don't Cry exclusive, the Verdi Friends and Family SBs. They're so cool.
Wait a minute, hang on, I gotta check this out.
Yeah, they're amazing. There's only like I think 100 of them in the world. I'll show you a picture.
See, you have the access to all the really exclusive
I kind
stuff.
of do, yeah. I know.
How cool is that?
It's really cool. I've done sneaker shopping with Complex twice. Once was just for me, and once was there's this little girl named Luna. She was about 4 years old, and she was like, "How come there's never girls on sneaker shopping? I want to be on sneaker shopping." And we were like, "So let's bring you on sneaker shopping."
Yeah, let's make it happen.
Right up. It was awesome.
So was she just like dying during the whole thing?
Yeah, but it was really cool for me because I financed the whole thing, and kids' shoes are really cheap, so it's fine.
That makes a big difference.
Yeah, 100%.
If
it was a full-grown adult, I might have had to say no.
You're like, okay, you get 1 pair, and that's it for sneaker shopping today.
Exactly. And then they would have been like, picking out the Back to the Future sneakers or something and running me up $11,000.
I was going to say some Red October Yeezys.
Oh, you know what? Yeah.
Is Yeezy off limits for you now?
I don't think so. I used to. Well, I don't wear them so much anymore. I remember when they first came out, I was like obsessed. I still wear my Calabasas shoes sometimes.
Those are like one of the most underrated Adidas Yeezy releases.
And the Mud Rats, you know what I mean. I wear a lot of those, but I don't know. I haven't bought Yeezys in a long time, actually. I've been really into the Vans just did this collaboration with Damien Hirst that just came out, and so I just got those because I don't just buy basketball shoes. You know what I mean? I have like skate shoes and stuff like that too. Anyway, we don't have to keep doing this because I really will bore all your listeners. I promise you.
Here's the thing. I could talk about this all night with you, but we came to talk about the music, and the album, and new singles that are dropping. I think officially like tonight at midnight.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be on stage, and 2 songs are gonna come out while I'm on stage.
Are you going to do those for us tonight here at Poptopia?
Oh my!
And the answer has to be yes.
No, I can't. Well, the reason I can't do one of them is because it's a collaboration with Suga from BTS. And you guys don't want to hear me rap in Korean because it's really bad. I promise.
Any Korean you have would be better than mine, though. So.
I'm working on it. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get better. I'll get back to you. In a couple weeks, and we'll let you know how I've done. I'm gonna see the guys in a couple days. We'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I have new music coming really soon. The album comes out in January, which is really exciting. I didn't think I was gonna play any more shows at the end of 2019, but here I am. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's been a quick minute for a live show,
I know.
and the fact that you actually chose to do it with us here at 99.7 is like super special.
Well, I had such a good time last time I was here. I had to come back.
Well, I love hearing that.
Yeah. Always.
So, what is it about the Bay Area when you're here? A couple of things that you always make time to do, or you wish you had time to do.
Best vintage shopping in Berkeley, 100%. The best vintage shopping. I would say Fat Slice, but R.I.P.
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't know. I kind of just like sightseeing sometimes, like driving up by what's the museum? The museum with the big whale.
Anyone? Museum with the big whale? Anyone? What's
Academy of Sciences, is that what it is? I don't know, but
let's just go with that.
There's a gorgeous lookout up there where you can watch the sunset, and it is freaking beautiful. I love it so much. I know, I love seeing music here. I have friends that live here, which is really cool. Sometimes we'll just kick it and have like a house party or something. But the Bay Area is really special. It has its own culture, its own identity. You know, I've spent a lot of time here, and the way that you guys celebrate your diversity and like just the heritage that exists here is really admirable because every city doesn't have that.
Trust me on that. I saw your speech on straight pride.
Yeah.
And I was like, you put it better than anybody else has ever put that before.
Thank you. Yeah, we were out in London, and that was like a pretty dark time. But I feel like, if I don't get to use my platform, then what's the point?
It's interesting you say that because I think a lot of artists are like, people come to hear me sing and that's it.
Oh no, not me. I feel like, I don't know. I grew up, I didn't really have a whole lot of money growing up, and I grew up in a family with a black dad and a white mom. And I came out when I was in high school. So, I was exposed to, I think, a lot of different walks of life and felt like I had the privilege and the opportunity to speak in a way that could maybe make some people's lives better. So I tried to take advantage of that,
Yeah, when I saw your speech and when you explained that, hey, you come to a gay pride parade and then you drive home and you're taking your stuff off because it's funny because you grow up in that and you don't even think about what that does to you. It doesn't like register as to what it does to your psyche, but like you really just it was like you put it into a prism and really made it speak.
Thank you so much. It's easy to talk in front of my fans because they're really, they're really unconditional with me. I think they really support me, and they never shut me up. They never say, like shut up and sing or shut up and look pretty. They care about, what I have to say, and for the most part, I try to, maybe give them an opportunity to see themselves represented in a way that they don't always get to be. I also do love singing and just writing, songs about nothing. But I've found more recently in my adulthood that having something to say is usually more fulfilling.
See, it's funny because I was going through, albums were released in 2015 and then 17 and then end of 19, early 20. So I was thinking, it's two years in between each album, and it takes 2 years to kind of take that stuff, get some life experience, and then figure out how you want to present that.
Totally. I put my first album out, Badlands, when I was 19 years old, and I was, my gosh, was I just full of reckless abandon. I was like, I know exactly who I am. I know everything I want, and nobody is going to tell me otherwise. And then I turned like 22 or 23 and was like, oh my God, I have no idea what's going on at all. Well, who was I trying to fool? So I had to kind of go through that process all over again. I think my first album was my way of saying, world, here I am. And now I'm 25, and Manic, my next album, is kind of my way of saying, okay, maybe this is actually who I am now that I've spent a little more time with myself.
By the way, the Road to Manic video from earlier today, I got a chance to check out a few minutes of it, but just seeing you talk about, just being open about things to your fans. Not that we would expect anything different, but there are a lot of people who wouldn't put themselves out there that much.
Yeah, Peter Don is my photographer, videographer. He's been following me on the road since I first started out, so for about 5 years. And, he's always kind of trying to get me to show those parts of myself. And I've always been a little bit protective, kind of like, no, I don't even want anybody to see me sick. I don't want anybody to see me sad. I don't want anybody to see me tired or ungrateful or frustrated or confused or, in a predicament. Everyone just only needs to see the good stuff. And, this year, I think he kind of whittled me down a little and was like, hey, come on, let's really show them what this is like. And I was like, okay. And so we started doing it, and it was kind of scary at first. I'm in there with no makeup on. I'm breaking out. I'm in the back of a car, tired off of a plane. We did one the day, the day I flew from AMAs to Arias, like across the world, and I'm sitting upside down in the car, my legs up on the ceiling, like, just looking ridiculous. And my fans, I think, have really embraced it because the whole point of this album is them getting to see a side of me that they never really have before. So it's felt really appropriate accompanying it with those videos. I think I just care less about what people are going to think of me now, and it's a long, hard road to get there. So if you're listening and you still care what people think about you, it's not a bad thing. Be patient with yourself because one day you won't. And when that day comes, it's going to feel so good.
Can we take it back to the beginning?
Let's do it.
You have what I would call an iconic, a really different voice.
Thanks.
And when did you know? When did you know that you had this amazing gift?
I never really thought I was a good singer growing up.
Are you serious?
Yeah, no. I remember one time actually, when I was a little kid, I was in the car with my mom and dad, and we were going to get ice cream or something at night, and Skater Boy by Avril Lavigne was on the radio, and I was in the back seat, and I was singing, and I remember my mom said, she turned the radio down, and she went, and she kind of looked at me in the rearview mirror, and then she turned the radio back up, and I started singing louder, and she turned the radio back down again, she looked at my dad, and she went, Chris, I think she can sing. I think I was like 6 years old or something like that. And she was like, honey, sing louder. And so, of course I started singing louder. And she went, maybe not. And she turned the volume back down.
Thanks, Mom.
So I must not have been so good.
Little soul-crushing moments with the parents.
Totally. But I remember that moment. She gets so embarrassed when I tell that story because she's obviously my biggest fan. You know what I mean? I got a little bit older. I started writing poetry. And then I've always loved music. I played piano, I played violin, cello, viola. I loved instruments. And it wasn't until I learned guitar that I kind of was like, well, first of all, you can't sing while you're holding a violin because just like physically speaking,
not easily.
it's really complicated. So having the guitar freed me up just ability-wise to be able to sing, music while I was playing. And it was the music that I loved growing up listening. I was listening to like Green Day and Fall Out Boy and Panic at the Disco, and I was going through some stuff, as a teenager. I was kind of lonely. And I knew how they made me feel, but it wasn't completely right. Their songs almost explained exactly how I felt, but they weren't like completely the right story. So I just started writing them myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that was kind of it. I don't know if I really thought I was a good singer until like a couple months ago.
Does it freak you out?
I think I'm a good singer now.
I think you've got seriously, when I say one of the most iconic and magic voices.
I appreciate that. Usually when someone says you have a unique voice, it's like, you have such a unique voice,
They've said that to a lot of people, but a lot of those unique voices then become super iconic as well. Like if you look at somebody, and I'm going to sound like super, classic rock and I was going to go back further than that, like a Bob Dylan. You see it like somebody like that, and yet like that's crazy.
Yeah, the first song I ever learned how to play on guitar was "Blowin' in the Wind," and I could sing along to it because you didn't have to be a good singer to sing Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where I built. I think some of my songwriting in the beginning. I reference him a lot, actually. Bob Dylan, Leonard Cohen, Patti Smith. People who it was about telling a story and less about putting on, some kind of classically perfect performance.
Who's written the best story, in your opinion?
Ooh.
One song that just makes you go, God, I wish I had written that.
That's really hard. That is really, really, really hard. I mean, Hallelujah is kind of like the perfect song. You know what I mean? Joni Mitchell kind of nails it too.
Can I high five that?
Yeah, that's like, she's just like, oh, my soul falls into my intestines when I listen to her. She's unbelievable. But there's so many amazing writers right now, which is really great. I love that I feel like newer, younger artists are starting to embrace the idea of writing their own music. For me, it was never an option not to. I just, I always kind of knew that I had to. To be honest, I couldn't sing something somebody else wrote for me because my voice just wasn't that good. So I just had to sing stuff that I wrote for myself,
right.
And it, it kind of worked out, I think.
I would say so.
Thanks.
So we're excited for your performance tonight, like super stoked to get you on stage. I do have one listener question.
Great.
And I met your absolute biggest fan the other day. They're not in the room right now, but she asked me to ask you on the new album. You're coming from a sort of idealistic, utopian standpoint.
Yeah.
And how did you get to that point where you could write in that zone?
I think I used to write about the bad stuff because it was easier to, writing about something is a really good way of helping you figure it out, because however it comes out on the paper, on the page, is usually a good reflection of stuff you didn't even know you thought about it. For example, when I was writing a song like Nightmare, I remember looking at those words on that paper and going, gosh, am I that angry? And you kind of, discovering stuff about myself I didn't even know. When I was making Graveyard, that happened as well. I was in the studio and I sang the bridge of that song. I sang, the warning signs can feel like they're butterflies. And that's why I go, because that was real. That was a real gasp in that moment. I was gasping and looking at the producer, Louis Bell, and going, that was a great line. But it sounded so cool. We just kept it in because it just sounded like I was having this epiphany.
And for the video, that moment of the video, literally, I just want to keel over when I see that because it's just like
so many different breaths.
It's one of the most. First of all, it's one of the most beautiful videos I've seen in a long time, and that moment right there is so emotional.
Thank you so much.
And I love the single. We're super stoked to have you on the show. They're giving me the wrap up.
Oh, sorry.
Even though I could literally sit here and talk to you all night.
I would stay and I would talk if they weren't going to miss me out there in the audience.
Okay, so we got to get out there into the audience. Halsey backstage at 99.7 Now's Poptopia. It has been awesome.
It has been super awesome.
Thank you. The only artist who could get me to do this. And I'm loving these docs.
Thanks.
High five. Yeah. Halsey, ladies and gentlemen.